So it came to pass in the time of the judges, when the judges ruled, that there was a famine in the land. Famines occur at least 13 times in the Bible. And the reason why the family leaves where they live, which is Bethlehem, and they go to Moab is really that's why they leave, is because of the famine. So that also, in a typological sense, indicates the famine was a judgment of God. And it also may have been a response to the spiritual condition in the country. That's a speculation, but one that can be defended. Famines took place in the times of Abraham in Genesis 12, in David in 2 Samuel 2, in the days of Elijah, 1 Kings 17, in Gideon in the time of the Judges, chapter 6. And for a number of reasons, most scholars seem to come to the conclusion that this event occurs probably in or near and about the times of Gideon, if you will. And so the drought and famine were among the many judgments God said he would put on the land. It's a result of their failure to keep the law. That's Leviticus 26, says that 4 times. And Deuteronomy 28. The first half of Deuteronomy 28 are the blessings. The last half of Deuteronomy 28 are the curses. And one of these things, if they don't keep the law, they could expect famine. And that apparently what was going on in that region at the time this family decides to leave. And so the book of Judges, of course, is just a repeated sequence of their failure to keep the law and the judgments that came, and then God delivers them, and that's the pattern. Now, the fact that the drought did not affect Moab, which is close to Israel, separated only by the Dead Sea. So it's a region they could get at, about 75 miles away, and that was not apparently experiencing this famine. You know, I read a lot of these commentaries, and a number of the commentators are really hard on this family. They shouldn't have really left. That part of their mistake was leaving and going to Moab. And people try to make it a moral case of that. I'm not here to disparage that. I think it's also a little unrealistic. There's famine. They're starving. There's another area where that isn't their land. They're leaving. You can make a big moral case that they shouldn't have left, but it was a practical result to survive, it would seem, and yet they didn't survive. We'll get into that. So it was a local famine in Israel only. And that's why it seems to most scholars, most commentators seem to see the famine in Judah as a judgment of some kind. It had to be a very serious one because, it extended over that whole land. Otherwise, they could have simply sojourned in another part of Israel rather than leaving Israel. You follow? That's one point of view. It also had lasted for several years. This wasn't just a bad season. Several years. That's caused them to leave the land. 10 years are going to go by before the way is clear for them to come back. That's part of the story, of course, when they come back. And so, now the Midianites had oppressed Israel for 7 years. The oppression included the destruction of the produce of the soil from this famine that would naturally follow. And that's one of the reasons we tie this to roughly Judges chapter 6 as a time frame.